Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So, just a quick bit of housekeeping. My name is Joseph Russell. I'm Strategy Director at JH, and I'm going to be your MC here in the main auditorium today for the business track. Okay, so I'll be introducing people. I've got a little session coming up later, so just so you know who I am. We've got 10 sessions today, more merchants than ever. You know, you get to really hear about those stories from the trenches, you know, particularly over what's been a challenging kind of 12 months, 24 months now, to really hear kind of how people have been managing to achieve success in those circumstances. Now, if you're not after the business stuff, if you're not after those stories, then it's the technical track for you, and that's upstairs. So no shame if you want to scurry off up the steps at this point, okay? This is your last chance. All right. But yeah, in truth, you can swap over any time you like. We're going to have a little bit of swap over time between talks, so you can do that. Or if you just want to grab a coffee. Or, you know, if you guys want to skip the talks and just mingle up in the marketplace, totally fine as well. You know, you make your own day today. That's what we try and give you with the agenda. Now, the honor of presenting the first track session on the business track belongs to Ozzy, who's the CEO and founder of Akoova, the managed Magento cloud hosting of choice. Now, Ozzy is a technology executive with over 3 decades of industry experience, with Akoova just being his 4th startup. He's also an expert in lean thinking for e-commerce and technology. So please, you know, as the first speaker today on the track, give a warm welcome to Ozzy. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good morning. So let's start. We haven't got much time. Will be intense, lots of slides to go through. So it's me. Okay, so Unbound Commerce, harness the power of open source. So Magento Open for Life is this year's key theme at the Akoova stand, as you probably have noticed if you've been upstairs, with the Magento Association. So please come and visit us, experience the silent rave, will be fun. And you know, collect. You've probably seen the Magento vinyl. There are tracks, 2 tracks, which have been created by Matthias and York of the Magento Association. It's me. I've been introduced already. So yeah, I've been on both sides of the table in retail, in e-commerce for over 20 years. And now I'm here at Akoova. These are some of the supreme brands that we are proud to serve at Akoova. So yeah, let's talk about, I won't talk about AI, don't worry, but I'll use it because it's important. So the hype created by the launch of ChatGPT around, was 18 months ago, clearly show that the pace of innovation is accelerating faster than ever. It just keeps accelerating. And innovation is happening everywhere. Now, earlier this year, was in April, I attended a UK Lean Summit, an annual event that brings together the best companies out there adopting Lean to thrive and excel, including, obviously, Toyota, since Lean originated from the Toyota production system. There was a professor of the Lean Product Development Center in Taiwan who shared his learning and results when teaching the Lean product and process development courses in collaboration with large corporations. One clear takeaway was that small team of students using Lean product and process development can outperform large research and development teams in developing new products and services. Small teams don't have the top-down strategies, the politics, they don't have the silos, Innovation thrives without the typical constraints of large corporations. Open source is one of the best places to innovate beyond any constraints. It offers a collaborative oasis for innovation, encouraging creativity and removing those corporate barriers, which, that stifle innovation. Going back to AI, notice that Meta AI and Grok by Elon Musk are open source, as well as Mistral AI, based in France, which is essential for building a European ecosystem around AI to catch up with the US companies. And open source in AI is more complex due to safety and ethical consideration, but still, it's a driving force. In March 2020, it was May actually, 2021, the Biden administration issued an executive order following some major security incidents for improving the national cybersecurity. And in 2022 and 2023, the Congress, in collaboration with the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, introduced a bill highlighting the significance of open source. It recognized that open source software is crucial for ensuring the national security and the economic vitality of the United States. Recent AI development and debates at the UK AI Safety Summit, which was held a couple of months ago, highlighted the crucial role of open source at the highest level of government. And the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, himself said on LinkedIn that UK government is pro-open source, that open source drives innovation, it creates startups, and creates communities. There are many ways to define open source, but fundamentally, in my opinion, open source is about freedom. It's freedom to innovate. Developers can modify, enhance, and adapt the software. It's freedom from vendor lock-in, avoid being tied up to a single provider, unwanted changes, or price hikes. Is freedom to collaborate, work with diverse community to improve the software. And it is freedom of choice. Select from a variety of solutions, pick and choose, not just one vendor's ecosystem. But since open source is more, open source also significantly contributes to the economy. In 2022, it contributed nearly £14 billion annually, which is 27% of the UK tech sector gross value added. It is estimated that between 5 and 6 billion, roughly, was invested in open source software only in the UK. And there are more than 100 million developers using GitHub. When more developers come together, incredible things happen. Odoo is a suite of open source business applications covering all company needs from ERP, CRM, accounting, inventory, point of sale, etc. And in India, they saw the client acquisition growing from 20 per month to over 500 per month within 1 year. They're not using SAP, as you can see. According to a recent survey by Stack Overflow, developers see open source as the most proven and impactful technology. Right there. Here are some stats about open source trends in retail and e-commerce published by the Open Invention Network in September 2023. 92% of retail IT leaders believe that open source software is as secure or more secure than proprietary software. 78% of them expect to increase their use of open source software for technologies. 84% of retail IT leaders choose open source suppliers. 77% of them say open source is a key part of their security strategy. And 62% top use of open source is digital transformation. In summary, retail IT leader says that the top 3 reasons to use open source software are higher quality, better security, and the ability to safely leverage the technology. We saw this before, and the love for Magento keeps growing, as you can see. This is the, the history of the stars in GitHub for Magento 2. There are different criteria to evaluate when choosing software solutions. For example, open source versus closed source. Bundling, which means all solutions from one vendor, versus unbundling, which is a mix of best-of-breed solutions. Generic solutions for addressing wide range of common needs to specialized solutions tailored to specific needs. And then SaaS, software as a service, versus on your cloud. We don't talk about on-premise anymore, which offers a balance between traditional on-premise and modern SaaS solutions, kind of best of both. Now, let's zoom on the bundling and unbundling. What is it? Let's use an example here. Once upon a time, you probably remember, if you're old enough, that there was AOL, American Online, which bundled everything from dial-up to information services such as email, news, etc. Then came Yahoo and unbundled the content from the access. Yahoo didn't need an ISP, it wasn't one. One feature of Yahoo was search. And then Google came along and unbundled search from Yahoo. And then Facebook came along and unbundled search for people from Google. Here is another example. The music industry is a classic example of unbundling. Before you had to buy a CD with many tracks in it, then Napster came along and you could download the track that you wanted. Okay? Nowadays, everyone use Spotify. You don't have to buy a bundle of tracks. You just download a stream, the one that you want. And this bundling and unbundling, it's a process that keeps playing out all the time within the tech industry. Now, let's focus on bundling. It's a common strategy that is used by large corporations to protect their market dominance. It combines multiple products and services into a single offering, right? Which can be appealing due to perceived convenience and integration. Merchants wanted to outsource innovation and be on par with other average competition, and companies often choose this path. And this approach kind of creates what I call innovation dependence. You depend on the provider to be able to innovate. Then there is unbundling, which empowers innovation, specialization, and excellence. New entrants can focus on a specific vertical, a sector, and do it exceptionally well. Merchants select the best tools for their needs without being locked into a single vendor. And merchants wanting to innovate and stand out choose this approach. Traditionally, choosing bundled solution from established brands was the safe option, the safe bet. And this was summed up by this old saying, nobody ever got fired for buying IBM. But nowadays, executive will be questioned for not exploring innovative, best-of-breed solution. This is an old behavior that is driven, this one, which is driven by risk aversion, worrying to make the wrong choice. And it's time for innovation. It's not good for the company you work for. It really doesn't allow to achieve full potential, and it holds back what's possible. Now, I've been lucky to see many, to know lots of different CTOs out there, and one thing is clear is that experienced and very competent CTOs prefer the best-of-breed approach, rather than relying on a bundle from a single vendor. CTO drives complex digital transformation where e-commerce is just one component, okay, of a broader strategy, and this is becoming more and more so. CTO innovates by nature, and they don't rely on a single vendor, okay? Artificial intelligence and open source software accelerate bundling effort. As I said, this is a process that keeps going on, keeps playing out, and both AI and OS are just accelerating the process. For example, let's look at Amazon Bedrock. You might not be familiar with it, but it's an AWS offering to deploy solutions for different type of large language models, including the open source one that we just mentioned. The customer can choose from and customize. In contrast, the bundlers, they offer their own solution or AI solutions with fancy names such as, Einstein, Watson, Sensei. They don't give you much choice. Now, when you couple artificial intelligence with the accelerated pace of innovation, with unbundling, and with the need to own customer relationship, data becomes a key decision criteria. And the questions you have to ask is, who owns the data? Where is the data? How can I access the data? This is probably will become one of the most important criteria for you. Data is the king, no doubt. It will become the king. And open source provides total freedom on your own data. The larger the business, and the more important and valuable those data are, with better enterprise-grade solutions from the ecosystems such as AWS, Akoova, and many, many others. which we have today here in this place. Open source is not just a viable solution, it's almost inevitable, even for large businesses, not just for small or mid companies. Actually, you will see more and more large businesses adopting open source. Many of them are already doing that. Open source and best-of-breed approaches open up new possibilities. I'll give you an example here. Not a long time ago, a few months ago, at the end of last year actually, AWS announced a zero ETL integration between Aurora, which is a highly performant and scalable database, MySQL compatible, and Redshift, which is a data warehousing solution. And this near real-time integration between a transactional database, the Aurora, and the analytical system, the data lake, eliminates the need and the headaches of a data pipeline. You don't need a data pipeline. You don't need ETL anymore. And all of a sudden, it enables a real-time integration, which then can enable real-time analytics, can enable real-time machine learning. And we can stop there. You can just think about what can you do when you have your own transactional data moving near real-time into a place where you can quickly do analytics and machine learning on the fly, near real-time. New possibilities open up. This is why it's important, and this is why experienced CTO prefer best of breed, because they know the landscape is constantly changing. There are always new possibilities down the line. They do not want to be close into a corner and not be able to leverage those opportunities. So never lock yourself in. This is rule number one. So in the current state of technology, open source software is the safe choice. By embracing open source, companies can drive innovation, obviously, gain agility, resilience, and a competitive edge needed to thrive in today's digital landscape. Now, gone is nobody ever got fired from buying IBM. From today, nobody will ever get fired for choosing open source. Now, I'd like to make a point here. When you move from one software version to the next, you call it upgrade or upgrading. Moving from Magento open source to Adobe Commerce, for example, it's not upgrading. It is called sidegrading. Okay? Similarly, when you move from Adobe Commerce to Magento open source, that's not called downgrading. It is called sidegrading. So remember, that's when you use terminology such as upgrading or downgrading. In here, you use sidegrading. Okay? You don't lose anything with open source. If anything, you gain with open source, as we said before. This is old news. Apparently, the site is live today, I've just heard, which is great. It is great to see what's happening between the Magento Association and MageOS, and that's important because I really believe that branding and marketing is extremely important for the Magento open source because no one is really taking care of it anymore, so we need to take care of it from now on. And when the community comes together, incredible things can happen, and it's happening. Now, Magento Open for Life is the key theme today at the marketplace. come to the Akoova stand together with the Magento Association, experience the silent wave. These are the times when the silent wave is happening, but it might be happening beyond those times as well. Thank you so much to Matthias in New York from the Magento Association for coming, for making the vinyl, and DJing for all of us. Thank you so much. And don't forget, to play vinyl, you need a turntable, so you can win one. Just follow these instructions, and you have the opportunity to win one. If you go to the Akoova stand, you will have also the information, so you can take a screenshot here or go to the stand later on. And that's it for me.